Hello and welcome to Mangatora96, and today we are going to talk about High School DxD. Today's topic will be Rossweisse and what she did in the story. Specifically, I will cover the volumes that the anime didn't cover, starting from volume 11 and going all the way to volume 25, as it is the perfect place to end this video. But before we start, here's the spoiler warning, as I'll be spoiling a lot of things in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would highly recommend that you go and read the light novel, as it is an enjoyable read. For everyone else, let's start with what Rossweisse did in volume 11. In volume 11, Rossweisse goes back to Asgard to train after her defeat in Kyoto and in her match against Rook, but reminded Ise of his midterm test and prepared a question paper for his reference before leaving. In volume 12, she returns after learning various defense magic from her homeland, which will allow her to defend against attacks that are 10 times more powerful than Heracles' balance breaker. She also told Terias and her comrades about the rumors that she heard in her homeland regarding the vampires, that a certain noble vampire house captured a Longinus possessor, which led to battles between vampires. After Ise successfully passes his middle class promotion test, Rossweisse, like all the female members of the Occult Research Club, decides to go out on a date with Ise. During the events of volume 14, she participated in the meeting of Mephistopheles in regards of making a pact with a magician due to the Grimoires group's recent popularity. Later, she participated in the meeting with the vampires from the Carmelia faction. She, along with the rest of the Grimoire group, excluding Rias and Kiba, later teamed up with the Cici group to rescue Ravel, Koneko and Gasper after the three were taken captive by the magician faction. In volume 16, she along with the Occult Research Club members Benina and Lou Garo went to Romania to aid Rias and Kiba, who were confined in the Tepesh Castle. On their way to the Tepesh Castle, Rossweisse told Ise that she received an offer from Sona to become a teacher in the rating game school that the latter is building. She then participated in the attempt to stop the extraction of the Longinus Sephiroth Graal from Valerie Tepesh and rescue her, fighting in the hands of vampires and Grenadel along the way. Rossweisse later teamed up with Kiba to defeat the mass-produced evil dragons that were rampaging in the Tepesh Castle town. In volume 17, Rossweisse asked Ise to be her boyfriend, as she lied to her grandmother Gondola about having one. She later goes on a date with Ise under her grandmother's pressure. Heading to Tokyo, the date ends abruptly due to the sudden appearance of Euclid Vusifuge, who came to try and recruit Rossweisse into Klipot. Later on, Rossweisse joins the rest of the Occult Research Club and the Student Council as they hold an open house for Sona Citri's newly built Auras Academy, teaching many of their prospect students magic alongside her grandmother. At night, she enters the male bathhouse where she meets up with Ise due to hot water being out in the females' one. They have a discussion on her research on Trihexa, worried about being taken and used by the enemy. Rossweisse asks Ise to kill her if it were to happen, but he refuses and says he will protect her. Unfortunately, Klipot suddenly attacks the school by putting a huge barrier around the town and assaulting it with mass-produced evil dragons army, as well as Sladun, Ajidaka, Grenadel and Walburga. During the battle, Rossweisse served as a bodyguard for Asya, who was flying around the battlefield on route in Maro, Ise's familiar, to serve as a battlefield medic. At the climax of the battle, Euclid arrives and kidnaps Rossweisse, revealing that due to their loose resemblance, Euclid intends to turn Rossweisse into a replacement for Grafia, as well as planning to tap into her knowledge of Trihex's seals to further their goal of using it. In the ensuing battle, Ise is able to overpower Euclid using his Varens and newly acquired Longinus Smasher, with Rossweisse using the magical rope Euclid tried to use on her to restrain him. In the end, Rossweisse falls in love with Ise and asks him if they can go to a 200 yen shop next time. Rossweisse and the Occult Research Club went to Heaven in volume 18 to talk to Mikael about the Christmas project the Alliance is working on. After the meeting, Mikael informed them about the deaths of church officials and the presence of evil dragons found at the attacks. Rossweisse helped defend Heaven from the attack of Klipot. She, along with Rias, Koneko, Gasper, Kiba, Akeno and Sao Sao, fought against the group consisting of the evil dragons Ladon and the 3 Grenadel clones. She, Akeno and Kiba teamed out to defeat a Grenade clone and used the binding technique Euclid used on her in the underworld to incapacitate another clone for Akeno to finish off. She's later seen along with the other girls observing the interdimensional room that Toji Shido brought for Irina to be able to have sex with Issa without falling, and commented on how her head was full of indecent thoughts and tried to expel them, feeling it was too early for her. In Volume 19, along with the other members of DxD, Rossweisse took part in the battle against Church Rebellion led by Vasco Strada and Edval Cristaldi. After Vasco was defeated, Valburga and an army of evil dragons ambushed them, where they gained the advantage when Rossweisse activated a barrier forcing the dragon army to be immobilized. This action caused Valburga to activate her balance breaker that contained the half-soul of Yamato no Orochi, where Valburga was soon defeated and arrested. In Volume 20, Rossweisse would help prepare students who are going through career consultation. DxD headed to meet with Aujak, who was able to recover Ravel, but are told about the shocking truth about his secret creation, the King Piece. When Issa's parents are kidnapped, DxD infiltrated Clippert's hideout on the stolen city, Agares, to save them. Gasper uses his Balor form when the Gremory team battle against the evil dragon who took Issa's family, Ninhorn. All their attacks proved to be ineffective as the dragon was equipped with several Phoenix Tears vials, until Chrome Crouch comes and starts mercilessly beating Ninhorn. In Volume 21, when Issa was discharged from the hospital and met up with his friends, worried for his safety, Rossweisse gave him a Nordic talisman she made in the style of a Japanese charm amulet. They headed off into battle afterwards. During the war against Clippert's army, Rossweisse had completed her 616 sealing spells and managed to cast it on the head of 666 and was able to seal the movements of the main body of the legendary beast. The spell, however, was unsuccessful in fully stopping 666, as the beast extracted its core before it was fully sealed. In Volume 22, one of their weekends off, the Cult Research Club, Wally's team and Issa's parents went on a fishing trip on an inhabited island owned by someone related to them. When Zenobia and Irina began a fishing competition, Rossweisse wore a wetsuit and attempted to catch fish by diving into the water with a harpoon. In Volume 25, Rossweisse was guided with the rest of her team in Issa's room and watched the rival team achieving their victories. She wasn't paying attention due to being lost in thoughts due to her marriage meeting with Vidar. At Co-Academy, Rossweisse was in charge of her class quiz, but she had her mind elsewhere until the female students reminded her that the time is over. The students started rumors about Rossweisse's condition and began to spread around the school. As her grandmother Gondola arrives at the Japanese restaurant, Rossweisse argues with her about the marriage meeting, with Gondola scolding her about not marrying someone as well raising a family, and continued the scold to Rossweisse for not allowing Issa to do perverted things to her. The day of the marriage interview, Rossweisse was accompanied by Gondola and Issa for her meeting with Vidar, while also dressing formally in a yukata. While waiting in the Japanese-style room, Vidar arrived together with his mates Fula, Hlin, Gna, and they gave Rossweisse, Issa, and Gondola a strict expression, with Vidar reprimanding them, asking to leave things to him. Rossweisse introduces to herself to Vidar as the former personal Valkyrie for Odin and currently a servant of Issa Hyodo, with Gondola and Issa also introducing themselves. Rossweisse and Vidar decided to talk about Odin and considered him a perverted old man that he went to go to all the girls' places and continued to have a bet mounting Odin. Rossweisse became astonished by Vidar remarking her as cute and accidentally drank all of Vidar's beer and in a drunken state asked for 5 more beers. She hugged Issa, saying she will be Issa's wife because he is a promising Oppai dragon and very kind to her. As well, the underworld is more favorable compared to Valhalla. Rossweisse began to cry and continued to say that Issa risked himself to save her from Euclid and became so happy. She gets scolded by her senior, Brynhilde, who was also escorting Vidar for being weak towards alcohol and her intoxication. This person continues to get scolded from her, saying that she mistook Vidar's beer as her own. Rossweisse and Issa get shocked about Vidar's declaration to get engaged with her and watch as Vidar challenge Issa with Rossweisse on the line. After returning from training at the Belzebut, Rossweisse wore a revealing lineager and greeted Issa, who also returned from his training. She tells Issa that Trieste and Akeno won't be coming to the residence due to the things they had to do in the underworld, and Asya will be sleeping with Zenobia and Irina. Rossweisse believes to reject the engagement she must offer herself to Issa, and she held his hand. She revealed that she doesn't want to marry Vidar and wants to be on Issa's side. She asks him to snatch her away from Vidar, and Issa responds to her that he never had any intention of handing her over to him, recalling the incident he had with Euclid. Issa hugs her and asks her to believe in him, and Rossweisse gives him her first kiss, much to his shock. As they were about to kiss a second time, Kuroka burst into Issa's room in order to do perverted things with him after learning that Trieste wasn't coming to her residence, with Koneko soon following after her sister. Rossweisse gets surprised when Kuroka asks her if she wants to have Issa's child, and gets asked again by her but responded she'll be sleeping with Issa, which led the four of them sleeping together. On the day of the match, Rossweisse and her team travel to Valhalla in Norse mythology at the Thor Stadium. She gets many cheers from the spectators due to Valhalla being her home, which causes her to blush from the cheers from everyone. As Team Lasher of the Kings arrives and the match starts, Rossweisse goes together with Issa, Irina, Zenobia, Ravel and Oreo to stairways of the artificial Yggdrasil. After Zenobia, Irina and Oreo decide to take on the chief god of Olympus, Apollon, Rossweisse places a barrier on them in order to keep them safe and to strengthen them with her Malstin, and places another barrier on the cave where Grefia and Asya takes on the goddess Arithmes. As they continued, Rossweisse and the others see Typhoon waiting for them and the order of the floating island, and later see Vidar inviting Issa to face him one-on-one, with Rossweisse and Ravel joining and leaving Typhoon to Ryogon, Bova and Elmenhilde. While Issa fights Vidar one-on-one, Rossweisse takes on Brunhilde and her former colleague alongside Ravel. Brunhilde asks Rossweisse if she has been training, as agrees she brought out her Malstin as their fight starts. As Brunhilde and Valkyrie squad overwhelm Rossweisse with their combined attack, Rossweisse reveals to them that she kissed Issa, much to their shock and discrowd. When the Valkyrie squad released their attacking stance, Rossweisse and Ravel released their counterattack with magic and defeated the four Valkyries. In her final battle against Brunhilde, Rossweisse managed to defeat her by barrier magic just on Brunhilde's right foot and uses her Malstin to enhance her offensive magic to defeat her senior. During the battle, Issa confessed to Rossweisse by asking her to give birth to his child and many children, which Rossweisse loudly agrees to give birth to many of his children. They win the match due to Dijak defeating Typhoon and followed Issa to the top of the artificial Yggdrasil and held hands with him, shyly asking him to see the real Yggdrasil together with her, and Issa agrees. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover on Rossweisse's role in the story. And that'll be all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or subscribe to the channel for more manga reviews and One Piece content. And until next time, take care.